With the U20 Japan roster now officially locked in with the top 23 players, we sadly had to say goodbye to a lot of eliminated characters from the Blue Lock program. While the obvious standout loss was NAGI SEISHIRO, one of the hardest hitting eliminations for me personally was Reiji Hiiragi, a tarot-reading egoist we mainly got to know in the episode NAGI spin-off manga. During the second selection, Hiiragi ominously predicted the future of Game Over for NAGI, and with chapter 299 confirming NAGI's lock-off, it seems like the predictions already come true. He didn't just make predictions for NAGI though, as he also cast readings for Barou and Chigiri that still haven't fully played out. In today's video, we're going to be diving into all of that. Hiiragi's tarot forecast, character, abilities, and just overall wasted potential. If you enjoy variety videos like these and want to support the channel, please take a second to subscribe, comment below any video ideas you'd like to see covered, and check out my community Discord link down below. Here's a question of the day too for an upcoming video: what's your favorite quote from the Blue Lock manga? Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Firstly, before we dive into his tarot predictions, let's actually break down who Hiiragi is as a character, because outside of the episode NAGI side manga, we've barely seen this dude. Hiiragi is actually 18 years old, standing at 6 feet tall, with long black hair usually tied into a bun and sharp all-white eyes marked by 2 distinct dots under each one. Just from design alone, he gives off this cold but analytical vibe, kinda like if you crossed Hisoka with Isagi. He makes his first real appearance in episode NAGI chapter 19, where he's on a second selection team alongside Nico and Zantetsu, and that's the version of Hiiragi that really matters, because the main manga barely uses him. He's not on screen during Team B's third selection match, he doesn't start in the U20 Japan game, and even in the new Egoist League, we only catch glimpses of him on England's Manshan City. The only confirmed time he actually played is during the final match between Manshan and FC Barca, and even then, he didn't do anything worthy of making the top 23. So most of what we know comes from that 1 second selection match versus Nagi's team, and that's where Hiiragi really showed off his whole vibe. He's obsessed with data, numbers, and rationality, almost to the point where he can't operate without them. His personality reflects that too, as he's overly confident, cocky, and detached from emotion. NAGI even described him as a fusion between himself and Isagi, which sounds insane on paper, but also comes with a worse downside. When someone breaks his data or defies his expectations, Hiiragi gets rattled and just cannot adapt or improvise like the other two. When Nagi's team starts growing and coming back from an 0-3 deficit mid-match, Hiiragi completely loses his composure, blaming his teammates, the info, and everything other than himself. On the field though, he did demonstrate some pretty impressive skills. His trapping was rivaling NAGI at times, especially in motion. He's able to trap the ball while running at full speed or rotating his body, and it all flows from how much he studies and anticipates his opponent's movement. He even created full scoring formulas using behavioral data on players like Barou and NAGI. His big data soccer essentially lets him calculate future outcomes, at least until the data is altered and people change. He's so reliant on control and prediction that once someone evolves past it, like NAGI did in that match, Hiiragi doesn't know how to react. And that just makes it all the more poetic that the person who proved his data wrong is the same one who just got eliminated from Blue Lock, exactly as he predicted. Now that we've talked about Hiiragi's overall presence and personality in the series, let's move into the main point of today's video, his tarot card predictions. When he first meets NAGI, Barou, and Chigiri in episode NAGI chapter 19, he casually pulls out his phone and introduces them to his tarot card reading hobby, using an app to predict their futures. While most of the group just brushes him off as a quirky weirdo, the predictions themselves ended up being way more meaningful than anyone could have imagined. Let's start off with the one that's already come true, NAGI SEISHIRO's death card. Even though this reading was the last one revealed in the manga, we'll talk about it first since we know exactly what it meant now. Hiiragi tells NAGI that his card symbolizes ceasing, separation, and game over. The panel specifically cuts to Reo as NAGI hears this, foreshadowing one of the main factors in his downfall. The game over and separation bits clearly refer to the recent few chapters, because with NAGI now being eliminated from Blue Lock, he'll also be without Reo Mikage. Hiiragi even points out that the One-Winged Angel card artwork can't fly anymore. It's lost its balance, and if it keeps going like this, it'll fall. Why do NAGI and Reo kinda give me 0-2 and Hero vibes from Darling in the Franxx? I don't know if y'all have watched that, but hey, it's a banger rom-com. Anyways, that's why Hiiragi decides it's the perfect time to challenge NAGI's team. That last line hits even harder now, knowing NAGI's entire arc lately in the NEL has been about trying to stand on his own and failing miserably. In that very match against Hiiragi though, NAGI did somewhat defy the prediction. He adapted mid-game and helped secure a comeback victory. Some people might just call that moment prolonging the inevitable, and sure it was, but considering how NAGI's whole character theme has always been about ego, death, and rebirth, maybe that was just one of his many cycles. Maybe the tarot prediction wasn't wrong, but rather the interpretation in relation to NAGI specifically. And if that's the case, this recent death might not be the end for NAGI, but the beginning of something new. Can we also talk about why every detached but important character to Nagi has a similar name? I mean, Agi, Hiiragi, Nagi, come on now. And that brings us to the second of Hiragi's tarot card predictions, Chigiri Hyoma, who pulled the Devil card. Hiragi tells Chigiri that this card represents seduction, betrayal, and ruin. He doesn't give a clear explanation like he did with Nagi, instead leaving it up to Chigiri and in turn us to interpret the meaning. What he does say though is that the figure in the card is chained to a bomb, and that bomb is counting down towards sure destruction. Before that time comes, Chigiri needs to reflect on what truly matters to him. And honestly, this imagery feels incredibly accurate considering what we know about his situation. The bomb is almost definitely a metaphor for his right leg, more specifically his torn ACL and the constant pressure that injury has put on both his mind and body. The idea of ruin hanging over him like a timer fits perfectly. Even now in the new Egoist League, Chigiri is still playing at full speed despite that lingering fear. He runs like someone trying to outpace the inevitable, and that could very well be the destruction Hiiragi warned about. We even saw a major crack slowly begin to show when his leg gave out during the World 5 match. Chigiri collapsed to the ground, clutching his knee in pain and apologizing to his teammates. The worst part is, this might have just been a warning of something worse that can or will come. As for the seduction and betrayal parts of the card, there are a lot of ways to interpret those too. On one hand, seduction might represent Chigiri's ambition, his overwhelming desire to be the #1 striker, to be selfish and rely solely on his own speed. In the NEL, he literally chose a solo playstyle centered on breakaway scoring with no passes. He wanted to carve out his own ego and be the sole ace for his team. Betrayal is where things get even more speculative. Maybe it's something that hasn't happened yet, something waiting in the U20 World Cup arc. One possibility is that Chigiri's own teammates might push him past his limits. We've already seen a contrast in how his injury was treated by 2 of his teammates. Isagi once yelled at Chigiri to keep going, to push through the pain and give everything he had. Nagi on the other hand immediately noticed the signs of strain and told him to stop before things got worse. In a high-stakes future match, that pressure might build again, and if Chigiri ends up pushing himself too far, it could lead to another devastating injury. But maybe the betrayal won't come from others. Maybe it's internal, Chigiri ignoring his body's limits and chasing his ego regardless of the consequences. In a way, you could argue that already happened when he was subbed out during the U20 match, due to poor stamina and leg management. Whether it's a physical breakdown or a mental one, Hiragi's prediction seems to be creeping closer to reality every day. Lastly, we have Barou Shoei, who received the card the Hanged Man. According to Hiiragi, this card represents training, endurance, and growth through trials. He also says it foretells a problem that will come to Barou from the outside, the situation that he won't be able to control. The only way to overcome it is by enduring it. Curbing your ego in the midst of restrictions will become a key to the new you. The card's artwork is fittingly a man hanging upside down from one of his legs. In the image, it's the man's own weight that's working against him, but he's calm, collected, and maintaining his balance, enduring the discomfort in order to grow. In Barou's case, I think the problem from the outside is none other than Isagi Oichi. Ever since their first encounter, Barou has been obsessed with surpassing Isagi, constantly trying to one-up him and reclaim his pride. Hiragi's wording is interesting because he says it's a situation that Barou got himself wrapped up into, which tracks perfectly. Barou was the one who antagonized Isagi in the first place, going out of his way to call him pathetic and even telling him to quit. But now, he's found himself being used and defeated by Isagi time and time again, even being dragged into past-focused tactics that clash with his very ego. The message Hiiragi gives is clear. Unless he learns to endure and suppress his ego when needed, he won't evolve. It's about learning to grow through the things he hates most. And what makes that so compelling is how accurate that advice is when we consider Barou's path after this match. He hasn't truly lost in a narrative sense. In the U20 match, he was subbed in and allowed to run rampant, scoring a wild goal and doing his own thing. In the new Egoist League, he literally sat out of the first match against PXG because he didn't get his way. And in the Basler Munich game, he rebelled against orders again, playing selfishly and ultimately losing the game. Even with that, Barou still ranked 4th overall in the new Egoist League salary bids, so from the outside, it looks like he hasn't faced any real consequences yet. If Hiiragi's readings are truly accurate though, Barou's refusal to adapt and curb his ego could catch up with him sooner or later. His current success might just be temporary stability, like the man in the card. He's still for now, but under pressure. The upcoming U20 World Cup arc will be the biggest tell for him, as Shiro Ryuze, Isagi Oichi, Itoshi Rin, and Kunigami all made the top 23. There are so many potential strikers and formations, and according to Barou, nothing will work except what he wants. Whether he continues to climb or eventually cracks will depend on if he can take Hiiragi's warning to heart. It doesn't matter if you believe in tarot or not, you have to admit, Hiiragi's predictions are hitting way closer than anyone expected. He might have just been a side character, but his presence made me a fan, and it's a shame he didn't make the top 23. Still, Hiiragi's legacy might live on through these predictions if they continue to unfold. Let me know in the comments what you think about the tarot cards. Do you think they'll all come true, or maybe referring to different things entirely? Are there other characters or theories you'd like to see get this kind of breakdown? I've got a bunch more content like this in the works, so if you enjoyed the video and want to support the grind, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out my community Discord link below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one real soon.